On the second day of the war, with the Sinai campaign going well, Moshe Dayan pulls out his paratroopers from the Egyptian front and sends them to fight in the battle for Jerusalem. Israelis are haunted by the loss of the Jewish quarter in the Old City just 19 years earlier in the 48 war. The quarter was destroyed, its synagogues defiled, and access to the Wailing Wall lost. Jews were exiled from a city where they had lived since the reign of King David 3,000 years before. To many Israelis, this was a national disaster. One of the paratroopers sent from the Sinai to fight in Jerusalem is Hanan Porat.
For me, and not only for me, I finally understood something. The war was changing direction. It was no longer a war for survival, a defensive war against jihad, but a war which, even if we didn't express it this way, had become a war of redemption. I remember how we went up to Jerusalem in these dusty buses. The bus is roaring with the song, Jerusalem of Gold. The guys are singing about how the water holes have dried up, how nobody comes anymore to visit the town square. I mean, who thought about those things back then?
The song, Jerusalem of Gold, was written just before the war. It's an unlikely anthem for the soldiers, most of them secular Jews who have always regarded Tel Aviv as their center. But the war is changing Israel. The largely secular nation is getting a heady dose of religion, and the battle for Jerusalem is starting to feel like another holy war. That night, the Israelis begin a determined ground offensive. The soldiers are paratroopers, like Private Yaki Hetz, fighting for the ridge overlooking the old city.
I felt there was no earth underneath me, like I'm walking through water. I shoot just to get my confidence back.
Ghazi Rubaya commands a company of the Jordanian army assigned to protect the ridge.
I had two options. Either my soldiers get killed, or I find a way out of here. What shall I do? The Jews are coming from all sides. The spirit of my soldiers is at its lowest.
The Jordanian resistance is broken after 5 hours of fierce fighting. 105 Jordanians and 35 Israelis die, 18 of them from Yaki Hetz's platoon.
I was in shock. I tried to understand what happened. For me, it was a war of survival. I never took part in any of the celebrations. Even a year later, I couldn't listen to the music that celebrated the victory. I refused to listen to Jerusalem of Gold. I had to turn the radio off. I was in despair. This war was a terrible blow.
Those who listen to my story of the war may not realize the scope of the tragedy, the fierceness of the battle, the fear, the hunger, the pain, the responsibility. Defeat is bitter. Its psychological effects stayed with us for a very long time.